The Chosen is amazing. Yes, I said it, it's amazing. This show started out as a crowd-funded, small little indie project, and has turned into the most popular Christian series possibly of all time. It's topping the charts on streaming platforms, Peacock, Amazon Prime Video, and Netflix, and it's got a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes. It seems like everybody absolutely loves the show. So why does it get so much hate? Alright, I only just recently started watching The Chosen because everyone on YouTube has said for so long, absolutely avoid it. I assumed that their points were valid, so I just didn't watch the show. But now that I have, I realize that all the reasons they gave to avoid the show were kind of silly, to be honest. So let's just start with the biggest criticism of the show. The biblical accuracy of the show gets brought up a lot. Things happening in the show that did not happen in the Bible, Jesus saying things in the show that he never said in the Bible, characters from the show being different than they are in the Bible, etc, etc, etc. Anything to do with biblical accuracy, people don't like The Chosen for those reasons. And the funny thing is that almost all of the criticisms of The Chosen, mainly these biblical accuracy ones, which are the main ones that people talk about, can be explained within the first 3 seconds of the show. Seriously, before a single frame of the first scene ever happens in the first episode of the first season, there's a disclaimer. Some events and timelines were combined or condensed. Some characters and conversations were added for purposes of context and backstory. All biblical and historical context, artistic adaptations, or imaginations were inserted for the purpose of supporting the feeling or intentions of the Bible. And finally, read the Gospels for yourself. This show is not a replacement for the Word of God. Of course. The second I turned on the show, this immediately set off a flag in my head. Like, everything that I've been hearing from all these people for such a long time is answered immediately. Obviously, a lot of the events that happen in the show are not in the Bible, because the show was simply not created for this purpose. It was never meant to be a perfect play-by-play of the events in the Gospels. It was meant to be a commentary, an adaptation, an imagination of what possible realistic events, reasons, and context behind the life and journey of Jesus Christ and the apostles could have been. The show tells you itself that it was not created to be a perfectly faithful standpoint. If you would like to watch something that is designed from a perfectly faithful to the gospel standpoint, then I recommend the 2014 film The Gospel of John. This film was created to be a perfect one-to-one recreation of the events in John's gospel. But The Chosen was not. The Chosen was made to make the events of the Bible relatable. Now, a lot of people do not like this term, I know that. They see it as sort of a bad thing, but I disagree, and I have a perfect example of what I'm talking about, so just hang in there with me. And by the way, heavy spoilers for the show right here, okay? Be warned. Thomas. If you know anything about Thomas from the Bible, there's kind of one thing that he's known for, and that's doubt. He doubts that Jesus was actually raised from the dead, and the Gospels don't really give much reason behind Thomas's doubt. Then again, Thomas himself said he was willing to die alongside Jesus. That's a tremendous faith claim, but then this doubting of Jesus' power seemingly comes out of nowhere with the context that's provided in the Bible. What The Chosen does is takes a creative liberty, and it gives us a reason behind Thomas's doubt. He's seeing Jesus heal and restore people back to life that he doesn't really have a personal relationship with. Yet Thomas, one of Jesus' closest followers, has his soon-to-be wife killed right in front of Jesus, and Jesus responds, "I'm sorry, I know how difficult this is going to be for you, but I'm God, and it's just her time." Now, I do not know a single man on earth who would not be extremely upset in this scenario. Even with the knowledge of Jesus' divine power and wisdom, understanding, and forethought, you would still be heartbroken. It could possibly give you a reason to doubt. Now, of course, we know don't doubt Jesus, and Thomas in the Bible finds that out as well, but the writers of The Chosen just attempted to give an explanation of why Thomas acted that way. And to be honest with you, that sort of explains it. All of it. If a work was created and was claimed to be the Word of God, but it added a bunch of stuff in, that's a problem. But The Chosen doesn't claim to be the Word of God, perfectly laid out frame by frame. It claims to be a TV show, created to provide possible realistic context behind the events in the Bible. And with a lot of that, it sort of just has to be made up. like Matthew being on the spectrum. Yeah, maybe it's unnecessary, but if you read the Gospel of Matthew, which I strongly suggest you do, it's a great book, it has the most chapters of all 4 Gospels. It's the only Gospel by an eyewitness that explains the genealogy of Jesus, and it's pretty specific, in depth. It seems like it was written by a person with a fixation for intense focus and detail specificity. I wonder what neurodevelopmental disorder has those characteristics. It's simply just a way to add context, or a reason behind Matthew's meticulous behavior, as is the same for everything else in the show. I understand where people are coming from with the whole, you should be very biblically accurate when you make shows about Jesus. And yes, in most cases I agree, absolutely. You don't want to create a false image of who Jesus is. But I don't think The Chosen does this at all. It simply just lays into the more realistic side of things, the context behind things. I'm not saying that the Bible is not realistic, of course not. What I'm saying is that we don't get the actual circumstances surrounding a lot of these things, usually written down in the Gospels. The Gospels are sort of summary. It's not meant to be a perfect play-by-play of exactly every single day and the events that led up to the major events that are recorded in the Gospels. The Chosen is just an attempt to make up, but in a realistic way, the events that led up to the main events that are recorded in the Gospels. But again, The Chosen is not the Bible, okay? If you want to know true events about Jesus and the apostles, go to the Gospels, of course. The Chosen is not even a biography about Jesus. It's not even a documentary. It's an entertaining TV show. And when it is consumed, it should be seen through a lens with that exact thought in mind. You're not reading the Bible, you're not getting the perfect word of God, but what you are getting is an entertaining TV show that I think is amazing. And by the way, people talk about Jesus acting very human-like in the show, like a guy. And I mean, he was a man, wasn't he? What did you expect him to act like? But with that, if you found yourself enjoying today's video, please consider subscribing. That's all I've got for you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.